forgetting that you should be still shoulder depressing and not having yourself all up here and then doing this stuff. When we end up doing this, then I got a ton of stress sitting on my shoulders. Now what Will's doing probably the most optimal thing when it comes to this is because he's doing it basically a press movement. You got to press like this, and then he's doing a press basically like this, only just opening it up more.
Incline dumbbell flies, 4 sets. Are you ready?
20, 15, 12, 10.
There you go.
Incline dumbbell flies, 4 sets. Now, all right, so here's the thing that makes things a little confusing about this part of this video, is that we have 2 different types of flies happening. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what's going on here. And I definitely coached in the past how dumbbell flies really aren't that optimal because there's a point of the lift where there's actually nothing going on. So basically, if we're like here in the lift, you think of gravity-wise, like nothing's really happening until I open up, and then we have, if you think about, remember, gravity is gonna be pushing me down though, right? Not up, not sideways, it's gonna be going this way, right? So if I pick something up, if I just go like this, and I drop it, it went down, it didn't go sideways, it didn't go back up, and if it went back up, I don't know where the heck I would be right now, but either way, that's where it goes. So when we're doing this, nothing's happening right now at this point. It only happens here because you think about now gravity has more, there's more to push down onto here and then coming back up. That's why I don't really think dumbbell flies are that optimal, but they're doing it in a way where the confusing part about this video is if any of you guys are watching this, you're seeing 2 different types of flies. Okay, which one's better? Which one actually works? They both work really well. The only problem is that if you're a beginner, you're like, what? Let me give you guys an example. Demo, please. There you go, thank you. All right, so here's what Kai Greene's doing. Kai Greene's up at the top, he's up here, and then he ends up opening up his arms here like wide, over above, almost like a big Y, and then coming up and squeezing in. So he's coming open really wide here, and then squeezing in, and then Will is basically doing like a fly press. So he's coming down here and doing a fly press. Both those ways do work, and here's why they work. So what Kai Greene's doing is, he's up here like this, and he's opening up wide and high, which is putting a lot of stress on my pec minor and my anterior delts. And then when he's coming all the way through, he's squeezing his chest all the way to here. Now I'm squeezing and I'm activating, but there's nothing really doing much here, but I'm squeezing. And then when he opens up, he's squeezing from here and he's squeezing up, right? Really wide. I'm gonna put tension on my chest right away. This kind of works. The only problem is if you're a beginner, you're gonna do this forgetting that you should be still shoulder depressing and not having yourself all up here and then doing this stuff. When we end up doing this, then I got a ton of stress sitting on my shoulders. Now what Will's doing probably the most optimal thing when it comes to this is because he's doing it basically a press movement. You got to press like this, and then he's doing a press basically like this, only just opening it up more. So this makes more sense in terms of doing an actual fly because you can add more weight and you're actually doing an actual press. If you think about it, if you're just doing a regular fly, there's not much of this that really works as much as the 2 ways that they are doing it. So if you're going to do this a way, I would say do it like Will's way. When you're here, keep yourself open from here, opening up wide, elbows underneath, and then pressing and squeezing up. And don't come all the way in. Just come and stop to the point where there's still tension on your chest. So from here, big chest, press down, don't let the dumbbells come under your chest, and then pushing up and squeezing, open up and squeeze, and that's gonna yield better results doing dumbbell flies. And when you're doing it Will's way, you're gonna let you're not gonna let the elbows stack. You're gonna have them stack where they're gonna open it a little bit to put a little more stress on your pecs. From there you can feel it open up, but you can get a little deeper with your elbows flexed and then press it.
To get more development in the upper chest, what I realized I had to get to my upper chest work sooner. The traditional stuff that we would have done in the beginning was wait to get your foot in the door.
But you get more specialized and individual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point, and it makes sense. When in terms of programming, you want to put the priority movements at the beginning of your lift. So if you're lacking, say like on back day with, back width, I would be doing, all of your vertical pulls first. So you exhaust them too much and then they can't get the attention that you need. Now, I like what he says here as well too. The only thing is if I'm watching this as a beginner and I'm like, hey man, I want to make sure that I put, my priority muscles first at the beginning of my workout, and you've already went through 3 exercises, it's kind of confusing, right? So again, it makes sense, but you know, we did do incline flies in that we're doing incline barbell press. Maybe doing barbell press first before the flies. I don't know, maybe or not. But at this point, for me, I'm already pretty damn exhausted looking at this entire workout. Anyway, let's just go over some technique right now with the pressing.
I notice you're pressing a little bit higher than normally, right? Is that intentional?
Absolutely. Trying to activate the upper pec.
So this is like, Kai Greene does like a really good job. Like I used to watch Kai Greene all the time with technique and whatnot. Just like how like cerebral, or like I would say like just in the moment he is when he trains. Now he's doing this and like Will makes a comment that he's too, you know, that he's higher than normal. When I'm looking at him from the side, like from his view, he might have it high, but again, like his elbows, his fists, wrists, and elbows are stacked. So when he's here and he's pushing down and we see people like, hey man, why are they in this kind of grip? It's good to push from this, but again, we want to push from the bone, not from like this part of your wrist, so you're kind of like doing this weird thing here and like, right? Make sure we're strong from here, and you can feel a little more in terms of like just activation right away. Here's just as good as well, right? Again, we don't want to make this the big issue, but we're just going to keep it consistent with what they're doing. When they're pressing, he might be pressing up pretty high. He might be pressing pretty high, but his elbows are underneath and he's pressing right where he needs to press in terms of activating the chest, right? You want this to go straight down. So if I drop this thing from now, it's going to drop right on my chest, right? On the top of my chest. And I want to make sure that that stays consistent by making sure my wrists, fists, and elbows are under the weight the entire time. And that's going to give me more activation on that part of my chest. If my elbows are like this, I'm going to start doing more triceps, and I'm not getting much pec activation as much as I could be if my elbows were stacked. Now again, that takes shoulder depression. So I'm not up here doing this, I'm down here. Now look at the beginning of this video, all the volume they did with doing the pull-ups and the dips, that's gonna exhaust my lats to keep me in the position to be here this entire time. That's what we wanna be able to do, is be able to stabilize, to be able to isolate the entire length of the set. But again, if we over pre-exhaust, we're gonna gas our lats out, and eventually this ends up rotting up here like this. And again, your body's gonna do what it does best. That's just adapt to what it needs to adapt to and just work for the situation. So like, put it this way, your body has no difference between you doing a bench press or throwing a tiger off your chest. So when it gets hard, your body's not like, stack the joints, we got a tiger on our chest. It's gonna be like, and push it up. We don't want to over pre-exhaust our stabilizing muscles, because if we do, we won't be able to hold ourselves in position to properly isolate throughout the entire workout.
People want to be on camera, try to move weight you're not supposed to.
And there's always these like really nice gold moments that you can take home with you guys, some lessons from top pros like this, and even Will just learning himself. And that's why I like Will, that's why I vibe with Will. Because the first time I actually kind of like had interaction with Will, he took one of my cues when I did the coaching up on him and actually applied it into his video. So he understands that like, yeah, he's training with Kai Greene. Kai Greene's a freaking, you know, runner-up Mr. Olympia who's jacked to the gills. We all know he's whatever, it doesn't really matter. But the point is, he's not trying to keep up with them. And a lot of you guys, when you're watching, a lot of you guys are in there in the gym with your training partners, and the ego just getting tossed right back and forth. You're sitting like, ooh, how much can I lift? You're trying to match your boy who's stronger than you, or vice versa. What we want to do is match each other in effort. Weight doesn't really matter. I mean, it does matter in terms of like exhaust yourself and making sure you're putting yourself in a position to build some muscle, but your effort should be the biggest thing going into the gym, effort and technique. It's cool to watch Will take off the weight so we can do this properly, get the fullness out of this experience with Kai Greene.
9, 10, let's go, 12, all right, let's go. Come on.
A lot of you guys got mixed feelings about this video. You're like, Johnny, what do you mean, man? This is top Olympia. Kai Greene, how dare you say anything about him? Number one, we got just the same amount of Olympias, 0. Now, I haven't been to Olympia either, but whatever. Either way, I'm trying to bridge the gap for you guys to understand some shit, right? Now, there's other people on the other side being like, yo man, that's a lot of junk volume. Kai Greene's blah, blah, blah. Kai Greene is gonna train for what Kai Greene knows how to train to be able to hold that muscle at what it is, right? Kai Greene's physique right now is a accumulation of obviously supplements, eating, and training. And the way he's been training, eating, and supplements makes him look like that so his body can do all of this volume. Can you? Probably not. Because Will's a regular Joe, or maybe he's not even a regular Joe, and he's having a hard time doing this. So what makes you think you guys can do this, right? Just take some things with a grain of salt and apply some things of some of the good things that Kai Greene has to say and move on. But like, don't try and copy a Mr. Olympia runner-up for, like, come on, man.
It's your boy, K with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done, and this is our house of worship. That's right.
I know ADD when I see ADD, man. And I got ADD. You know, my man Kai Greene definitely got ADD.
But build them up to protect you.
Hey!
But every bodybuilder is a philosopher. You have to be. You can't do this and not be a philosopher, because to do it is an expression of belief system.
Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Kai Greene, right? I follow a lot of what he, I understand what he's saying. Totally understand being like, you know, very philosophical, being very in tune, understanding that this is just, I believe this is more than just lifting weights and trying to look good. It's very, for me, spiritual and cerebral experience. I totally get it, totally understand. But sometimes, man, Kai Greene just goes way out there. But I definitely get it. And it should be that to you guys, because again, the biggest joy for me in coaching is to be able to give people the ability to actually change themselves by thinking something, applying it, and seeing the action have results. So for me, that's exactly what bodybuilding is. That's exactly what lifting weights is. It's more than just like lifting weights. It's being able to understand yourself and knowing your limitations and be able to exceed those limitations through application, movement, and results. Like, I don't know who this guy is, but his form is off. Your boy Will is a joker, man. Anyway, guys, that is it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys try any of these techniques, make sure you guys let me know in the comment section below. I know you guys enjoyed the video, so if you did, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. You know, I'm gonna come with that topic. It is transparent, vulnerable truth. For coaching, johnachieve.com. If you want to know more about my coaching, guys, book yourself a 15 to 30-minute consult, guys. At the end of that consult, I deduct off any package that you pick. Also, hit the description below for those discount codes and promo codes that help save your life or change life for the better, like Johnny10 for 10% off, BlueStarNutraceuticals.com. Anyway, guys, make sure you guys add me on Instagram and TikTok. Send me your progress pics, or training pics, and your video clips. I'll repost it for you, because you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.